Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Magic, for inviting me. So today I want to talk to you about traction. And for me, traction is very close to what is a business plan. It's putting in writing what you want to do, what you have in your mind, so you can act on it. So I will start talking a bit. We'll try not to be too long, and then I hope that you will be the one working, doing your own business plans, your own traction map, so you know what you will be doing in the coming months, and you can communicate it with whomever should know about it. So when we look at this, we want to know what we should measure, how we do that, and what we do once we have it. That's my name for those who didn't get it, and it lists a few of the projects I'm involved in. So Flocations is this travel website that you just heard about. I was there for 3 years, and now I have the chance to work with different. So at Flocations, I was a founder, and I led the company till it got seed money, and the team which is now running it. And now I'm lucky enough to work with entrepreneurs and startups from different sides. So on investor side with Majuven, and on inside the startup with what I call We Are CXO, which is bringing CXO services to startups, meaning doing whatever needs to be done right now, and mostly database stuff. Is the sound okay? Can everyone hear me? Yeah? Wow. Can everyone understand my American accent? Come on, please. Um, um, yeah. Okay, so as I said, for me, when I look at an idea, sometimes I get upset because entrepreneurs come to me and they tell me about this beautiful idea and they believe in it, and but they have no metrics, no data points that they will analyze, and they tell me they have no business plan, which I can understand. No one wants a 150-page business plan that no one reads anyway. But it's a shame not to know at least a few of these plans. So usually we go for a coffee or for a glass of wine. I'm French, and just by asking them some question, they write down, or I write down for them, what they have in their mind, and after one bottle of wine, we have their business plan basically. So it's really every one of us, we know what we're doing, and no one can know better than you. We just need to write it. And writing stuff has a huge importance. It's Jeff Bezos from Amazon who's mentioning that full sentences are harder to write. They are verbs. There is no way you can write 6 pages about something if you don't have a clear thinking about what you have in mind. So in a way, if you don't write it, it does not exist. So I'm upset when I hear people telling me, yeah, there is lots of people who want that. What does that mean? How much is lots of? Is it big enough for you to do a business? So we should try to analyze that. Let's go into a few of the projects I worked on, and I will share with you what I see as a traction for these projects. So we'll see like 4 or 5, and then we'll do it for you. So first, Flocation is the first project I started in Asia, based in Singapore. It was in 2011. I went to a startup weekend, pitched this idea of a map-based search, as you can see, and a few people joined. During the weekend, we developed a prototype, it was cool, etc. And then we go on. We know the market is big enough, like there is 1 billion travelers a year. So there is a big market, and Asia is growing very fast. But still, we were not funded. It's a B2C product, so it takes time to get enough users. So the other guys were still working in their company. How do we get them to join completely the project? So we need enough traction to attract people to join a project. So that's traction to attract people. And for that, we were lucky enough that the project was interesting enough for a few investors, and for JFDI, the Joyful Frog Digital Incubator, which is a startup accelerator based in Singapore, and we're part of the first batch. And once we have that, we have kind of a market traction, which allows everyone to quit their job to join the project completely. So by keeping track of this traction through investors or incubators, we are able to get the team. Then during the incubation period, we regrow the business, we refine the idea, and then we want to raise seed money to finance the product. So we're still very, very early stage, and there is no significant revenue or no exponential growth from traffic. So to get seed money, it's still not about money or dozens of millions of users in this case. It's showing that you know what you're talking about. So I believe that many projects get funded, and I'm sure some of you saw that, because people are committed enough to do it. Like, how many of you want to start a company? Okay. So half of you want to start a company. How many of you have a company today? 20%? Okay. And who are the other people? How many people are students here? 10% students? What are you guys? You don't want to start projects, you have no project, and you're not students. Are you working in big companies? Who's working in a company of more than 500 people? 2. Working in companies from 100 to 500 people? 1. Okay. So I guess we have students, people who want to start a company, and people who have a company. And with people who have a company, is there anyone with revenue above $1 million? Congrats. Okay. Good. So then you have, out of the 50% of the audience who want to start a business, how many will actually start it, and how many will keep going while they will fail? Like, I would say 80% will start. 1 month later, 20% will stop the project because they find out that it's not what they want to do. 3 months later, a few more people will drop out. And so after 6 months or a year, you have very few people who are still working in their project. So investors are kind of interested to know these people because they are committed enough. And then the interviews, in a way, the pitches for investors are mostly to see if you know what you're talking about. And again, it goes back to traction, in a way, measuring data points to show that you have been following your project and you know the potential of the project. So that's what we did. And we were able to get seed money. And now there is a team running it. That's for applications. After that, so I joined Majuven, which is a VC fund based in Singapore, which invests Series A in some companies. And the great thing for me is that being there, I see a lot of entrepreneurs pitching, so I'm on the other side of the table. And the other day, I was analyzing some data from what I saw, so from the pipeline, so it's several dozen companies. And basically, I found out that only 20% have traction. So it's a very subjective term again. Like, there is no one definition of traction, but a Series A fund, so people are coming here to raise more than $1 million. They should have proof that their concept works, and only 20% of them have actual traction. And I would love to avoid you to go in such a situation, and also to avoid the situation where people say, yeah, in Asia, investors don't take risk. They only want revenue, or they don't like whatever. I think if investors are not investing, it's maybe because the project is not good enough. So if we show them that the project is good enough, we increase the chances to get funding. So then I started this consulting firm. We are CXO, entrepreneurs helping entrepreneurs execute and grow from seed to Series A. So once someone got this seed money, they have proved that they have an idea which makes sense. How will they track, how will they put in place processes which will allow to go to the next stage? And through that, I'm super lucky to work with two of the best startups in Singapore. First one being TradeGecko. It's a SaaS solution for inventory management. So wholesalers who have different suppliers, customers selling in batches, they cannot work on spreadsheet anymore. They need a real solution, and TradeGecko is a solution. It's growing very fast. And so here the question is, how do we sustain this growth? So how do we measure it and understand where it's coming from so we can keep it from or continue to happen and go to the next stage of funding if we want to raise money. One interesting data point being on pricing. Like for now, the pricing is say around $100. But if we are working with people who have $1 million of revenue a month, if we increase their sales by 1%, 1% of 1 million is $10,000. Why do we charge just $100? There should be ways to measure the traction even of our customers to increase the prices, which will increase our traction. Another one is the Asian Parent. So it's the biggest parenting website in Singapore and Asia with more than 2 million moms and parents. And here the question is, Sam, how do we understand where the traffic is coming from? How do we monetize it better? How do we provide more values to the people who might be interested? For info, these two companies are hiring a lot, so if you want to work in cool startups, you can let me know. Looking for product managers, data analysts, developers, country managers, basically anyone who wants to work in a startup, we might find jobs there. Another one I see with TradeGecko is a SaaS business model. So the guy before me said SaaS is not a business model. I think I will argue, and I think it's a business model. And there are specific metrics, specific way to understand your traction in this case. And the expertise in Asia, it's still very, very low. While in the US, you have around 30 or 40 companies which are listed in this industry. In Asia, you have like not many listed, in Australia a bit. And many have no clues of these metrics or don't understand them well enough. Again, it's something I have been lucky to see on my VC job. So we're creating SaaS Business Asia to build this community, to bring the resources for entrepreneurs who are doing this so they can grow their business. So Sam, if you have businesses in the SaaS industry, I would love to hear from them and connect you with other SaaS experts in the region. Okay. So that gives you an idea of how I track traction in different projects. And now let's see how it works in an fundraising perspective. This is one of my favorite articles for investment. So investors invest in lines, not in dots. And sometimes entrepreneurs seem to believe that you will do a deal in one day. So you will meet an investor, and of course you get the check straight away. It seems there are a few stories like that, like Larry Page and Sergey Brin getting the 100K check just in their garage because someone passed by for 10 minutes and did not have time to chat more, so they just give money and they go away. But it does not happen much. And even big deals, when we see Facebook who acquired Instagram, the deal did not happen in one weekend, contrary to what we can read on TechCrunch, like there was no rumors and on Monday it's acquired. Yeah, maybe they did the deal during the weekend, but the two founders know each other for years. Like they were in the same school, I believe. They have been friends and they have been updating all along the time. So what happened during this time? In a way, it's these dots that we're connecting. When you meet someone for the first time, you have one dot. It's great. Hopefully it's higher on the chart than lower. But you have no way to know how they will behave. So you would expect maybe a performance which is kind of linear, but the real thing which happens is that you have some performance and something bad happening, and you see what's going on then. So as an investor, we're basically looking at these lines, which is the best way to understand how the entrepreneurs behave, how they react to the changes that will be for sure in their business, and give a good idea of like the future. So this morning, Cheryl mentioned that these 5 days with the academy, you might get in touch with a few investors. I think it's on Friday. I guess no one will get a check on Friday. Or maybe Kylie signs a check very quickly. But then 6 months later, you come back to them and you tell them that you're growing at 30% a month. And now, while they saw you one day, 6 months later, they know that you're still there, so you're someone who's committed, and you got something right because you're growing fast. Now it becomes very interesting, and you can go to the actual fundraising. So create this line. And today, we're going to try to create these lines or create the data points so you will know what to monitor in the coming months, so you know what you will send to investors in 6 months. Sometimes when investors, entrepreneurs go to pitch, there is a growth line which is like that. And it's very funny because from this line, you can know which day we are. Basically, if you see a chart like that, usually the pitch day is there. It seems to be magic that people have a project, they have been growing slightly slowly for months, but after meeting you, they will magically grow 50% a month, and it seems that in 2 months, like, they will be $1 billion business. That's not credible, okay? That's one point, so you need to give more of this point to show the counterparty how the growth is actually going. And that will be on the velocity of your growth. And of course, that's just one part of the equation. You want to know how big you can be. In some industries, there is no existing market, so you will not know your total addressable market, but you can guess it a way or another. And in some cases, you have actually numbers. Here, I'm Xero, so who knows Xero? The accounting software. Yeah. So more people might want to know Xero. It's one of the very cool accounting software all in the cloud, which works pretty well. And so they are listed in the stock market for like 4 years now. They are a $3 billion business. And that's their latest investor update, so 2 months ago. And they show here the addressable market in their different countries, so New Zealand, Australia, UK, North America. And in gray, we can see the total market size, and in blue, it's where they are. So before that, they tell you that they have a growth which is like super fast, 100% a year, basically. And now they are telling you that, yeah, we're growing super fast, and the maximum we can reach is like far, far to where we are. So we have a huge potential. So 2 things to consider. And the other side, reviewing the potential size of your market is very interesting. If you take the data from a few years ago, when the telecom bubble was there, if you were to calculate the implied market size for telecom companies, you would find something like the market was expecting that everyone in the world, 7 billion people, would pay $1,000 a month for their mobile phone bill. I'm not sure it's very possible when the average GDP of the world is maybe around 3,000. Why would everyone pay this much? So doing this total addressable market is a good way to test your hypothesis and to know that what you're doing is significant. Let's do that. So, and to show you how that works, and the template I would like to use with you to check your total addressable market. One day, an entrepreneur comes to me and is super excited. He has been working on a project for 6 months. It was, let's do it. Okay. Yeah, it was travel insurance for students in Singapore. So this person found a very good niche. He knows what he's doing. That's great.
So let's review how big can this market be. In Singapore, we have a population of 5.3 million people approximately. How many of these might be students? Maybe 10%. And when you do estimates, like we don't care if it's 9 or 11, we want to have a gross idea. So it's more like, is it 1, 10, 50%, something like that. At 10%, I believe it will make sense in Singapore. So we have the maximum number of students. How many of these will actually travel a year? Say half of them. Okay, so we have a bit less than 300,000 potential travelers. Now,
how much does an insurance cost?
We can go on World Nomad and quickly do a quote.
We want to go, let's take any country. We're starting from Singapore, it's our market, 1 week, so I guess this will match the trips that students might take. Okay. And we have the magic price of around 50 USD. The differences are just for like some sports. And so 50 USD, let's put it in SGD. Okay, right. It's around 70 Singapore dollars. So okay. That would be, so we could calculate the total money spent on travel insurance for students. Okay. So around 20 million, sounds good. Now, in this case, the person does not want to provide the insurance, but to do lead generation, basically to compare the pricing, and so they will act as a broker, they will get a commission. Usually when you get commission, you get something maybe around 10%, I guess. Depending on industries, it might go from 1 to 20%. Let's do 10. So your market is now a fantastic $2 million. And this guy had been working 6 months. He was telling me that he could earn like $10,000 a month. So monthly salary of the founder. So you already spent 60K. Now we have the total market of $2 million. He will not reach it in a month. And it's travel insurance. People don't care. Students even less. They want to go to Bali or Thailand or somewhere close, and they will check a few dollar difference with the airlines. So they will not add $50 for insurance. So even reaching like 10% of this 2 million will be a lot. So I would say the real market within 2 years might be maximum 200K. And within 2 years, he will have spent much more. He already spent close to the total market. So in 5 minutes, we review that his hypotheses don't make sense. So now I would love to see among all of you who have business idea, did you do such calculations so far? And if not, or even if you did it, let's do it together. And we'll review a few cases, and maybe the audience will have some questions for you to refine. So I would suggest every one of you to take some paper and to write down your idea and to do this total addressable market calculation. I will go around, and in 10 minutes, we'll take a few and we'll bring them on stage. Okay? And for those who don't have an idea, I try to work with the people sitting on your side, so you get to see how they do it. You can help them refine the hypothesis, and you can learn at the same time, or get a new idea. Hola. Yeah, do it with your own ideas. The goal, I would like at the end of this session for you to have your traction metrics established, so your total addressable market, and the metrics you will follow in the next few months. And actually, I will do an offer to some of whom I will take up to 3 people that I will mentor over the next 6 months. So we can review your traction every month to make sure you're building this line. So 3 people can get this offer if you want, which is what I usually do as my job, and we'll do it with you. It does not work, yeah. So yeah, I have a question. Who believes they understood what they should be doing? Only one person? Now, we want to find the maximum size of the market. So in the case of the travel insurance, $20 million is spent in Singapore for travel insurance for students. So you know that if you're in this industry, you will not be above that. And travel insurance is an industry which is already mature. Like, it's not something completely new, where you could say today it's 0, but in 5 years it will be 20 billion. So I think you have to refine your idea into, is it a market which exists today? Is it a market which does not exist? And then go through some hypotheses. How big could it be? Anyone wants to throw an idea and we do it together? Hola, yeah. I know how to do market sizing, but I don't know how to use a mic. we have who loved, not nice. We have a cool idea over there. Someone wants to do basically a F&B business with a specific market, people who commute every day. So if we want to size this, and it's to go F&B business. So the maximum price, maybe I will go on screen to do it. So, let's take the plate. So let's say it's F&B for commuters. At first, it starts in Kuala Lumpur because the person is based there, I guess. So let's review the population of Kuala Lumpur. Google is our friend. Okay, 1.5 million. That might not include all the cities around. So I will double it to 3 million. Okay. Now, out of these people, how many people actually commute? And are actually, I guess, the working class, because kids will not go. I would say maybe 1/3 of people do commute. So we have 1 million people we can target. How much money will that be? If it's something to go, it's kind of a sandwich or drink stuff. I would say the maximum is around $10. Or how much is Starbucks in Malaysia? How much is a coffee at Starbucks? 10 ringgit? Okay. We don't care if it's 10 or 15. Okay, I will put 12.3. Okay, so if my hypotheses are true, including the price of coffee, the total value spent every day in Kuala Lumpur could reach 12 million ringgit. We could divide that by number of people who actually buy something in such F&B, and I guess not everyone does that, so maybe 5%. And these are meant to be argued on. So I don't claim it's true. In a way, we're reviewing a potential business, and the question is, do we find it's too small and we stop there? Do we find it's too small, but it's because the hypotheses were wrong, then let's discuss what could be bigger, or if it's big enough, we know we can continue the project. Okay, so that would be daily. Now we want to know market per year. We should multiply by 20 days, 20 working days a month times 12 months. So let's multiply, and that would be. So in 5 minutes, I find that the market you're tapping is around 150 million ringgit in Kuala Lumpur, which I guess is significant. So, and I'm sure once you have places where you sell your goods, you could even upsell and sell more stuff. So it seems there is a potential. So congrats for having a market which is at least big enough. And very good point. And okay. So and that's in the whole city. Not everyone goes to the same station. You will have to do it like per MRT station, etc. So which market share could we reach? Yeah. But so I guess if we are at 5% of market share, it will be already a good market share. Okay. So yeah, we just dropped the market to 7 million now. Yeah. Okay. So now the entrepreneur wanting to do this business should think like, is it a market I want to tap in? How long will it take me to reach this market? Is it exciting enough for me? Is it growing? Is it whatever? In a way, yes, the hypothesis might be already pretty ambitious. So you might want to review, if that makes sense. And that's just on top line. Of course, we didn't include the cost. So depending how you serve your customer, you might have very high cost if it's real property. So that's something to get. But I'm sure this could be grown too. So the next stage then would be here we have the total market. How will you grow over that? So what will be your traction on the way? For that, in a way, I see traction as charts which are like that. where we have the total addressable market versus traction. So if we show that the total addressable market is this green line, which might be growing over time, and here it could be months, it could be year, like we don't care. Let's say it's months, yeah, no, maybe year. And the yellow one will be how much of the market the person reached. So it might match. The numbers are just random numbers I'm using to show how I visualize traction and how I believe you can communicate this traction, because you're showing this potential and what you are doing, and on the right will show you how you're doing it, or which are the input for your traction. So on this one, we would see someone who's in a growing market and who starts from a low penetration to around 60% market share. So if I see that as an investor, if I imagine I can reach that, I'm very happy to invest at this point. And if I'm a potential employee, it sounds also very exciting, because I'm joining a company which has a huge potential. Again, your traction is useful both to raise money and to attract employees. And on the right, it's the split of this line by strategies. So if we're in a F&B business per commuter, so it's per MRT stops, maybe each line might be one outlet. At first you start with one, growing, and then you're adding. So it's again a way to show where the growth is coming from. In this case, like you would have your first outlet who's growing a lot, and the other outlet are adding some revenues, but actually not growing. The beauty of random, we can generate new ones. In this strategy, it's great. This one is adding much more. Cool. Okay. Does that help? And here you can see I didn't mention which kind of metrics. It could be dollars, if you can measure dollars, but you might be at a stage of your project where it's not that, and you want total number of users, even if I would advocate not to use the word users, as Cesare said this morning, name your users to what they actually are. At Flocation, so the travel website, we don't have users, we have travelers. If you're in F&B, you don't have users, you have coffee drinkers or whatever. Name them so you know who they are, and it's easier to estimate how many of them there are and their behavior, etc. Cool. Let's take another business idea. Anyone wants to share something? Okay. Oh, come on stage. Yeah. Yeah. Hello, I'm Flo. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's start so we explain. So you want to be a kind of broker or property agent to rent flats in condos? Yes. Okay, so let's name the project. Super cool condo flat rental service. Good names can help so much in a business. Okay. Okay. So Kuala Lumpur condo unit, so that's actual flats, yeah? 200. Average rental 3,000. Hey, slowly. 3,000 ringgit, and that's per month, yeah? Which will bring us to another topic. It's how to choose a market. Go to Singapore, finding this kind of price for a flat is very difficult. So, okay. Okay. So the total rental in Malaysia is probably 600 million a month, which seems to make sense. Okay, Kuala Lumpur. Yeah, sounds good. And your fee? Say again? Okay. Occupancy rate, let's say it's 80%? No? 50? Okay. So that would actually be around 300 million ringgit a month of rental paid. That makes sense? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What? Okay, so then the fees, that the amount that people are paying for their rent, but in this case you will be a broker, so you get a commission. You say it's around 5%. Okay. So all the brokers might make 15 million ringgit a month in Kuala Lumpur. Same analysis, and before you will not have 100% of the market, so we need to account for market share. How much do you believe you can get? And to analyze the potential market share, you can review who is the biggest one in your industry. And yeah. No, yeah, I don't actually. Okay. Okay. So it's interesting. And tell me if I understand wrongly. Um, so you're telling me that your business is unique because no one is doing this exact payment method. Okay. Okay. But so here the argument is, do we consider the market to be this exact case of how you take the commission, or is the market size how many people actually rent a flat? I would argue that first that the total market is still the total number of rental in the market, and the way you provide it will be a subset of that. You will still have people who rent direct or the way they do today, and some people will switch. So you know it's still a market share. Yeah. Do you know how big is the biggest property agent today in Kuala Lumpur? Yeah. Oh, how many units is the maximum number of units that someone is renting? So if we have 200,000 flats in Kuala Lumpur, how big is the biggest property agent? Do they rent like 10,000 room a month? Do they rent 100,000? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So you could. I understand that property agents usually have maximum of 500, say 1,000 flats, but you could have much more because you don't actually own the condo. You're more. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So you can have much more, but you still will never have 100% market share. Not all flats will use this. So let's estimate a 50%. Like half of the people would start using this pseudo peer-to-peer rentals model instead of renting through an agency. Okay. So now you could, this hypothesis tells us that you're targeting a 8 million ringgit a month commission, which would be your revenue. Is that what you were expecting? Okay. Did you do the calculation previously? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. So, and that's a very good argument, and we might not have an answer right now, and we'll probably not have such an answer even for years. Like, who can know what is the actual total addressable market of Airbnb or Uber or stuff like that? We don't know. Clearly, you're creating a new market, but today or the maximum is the number of people living in a place, the number of flats available, and then the beauty of your model is that once you have it in one city, you can scale to other cities, and you have no physical assets you need for that. So I would say, go for it. Like, I'm sure Kuala Lumpur can finance quite a few of your operations, and once your model is proven, you can scale it to another city, and then you will have all this scale. So then, now that you have your total addressable market, which makes sense, I would suggest you to think about which are the KPIs, so the metrics that you will use to draw these lines. It can be dollars, but you might also want to show the other metrics, number of flats you manage, duration of the flat rental. Do people rent for 2 months and stop? Do they do? Yeah. Yeah. So even if it's for long term, is it long term for 1 year or is it long term for 2 years? Okay. So monitor this too, because that changes the amount of commission you're getting. If you get 1 year or 2 years, you're multiplying by 2, I guess, or you have a 2x impact. And I guess people are only renting one flat, so number of people will be the same as number of flats. But you are also in a marketplace business, so you will have some flats that you don't rent, and you will have some people you're not able to match. So you might want to monitor this conversion rate, so the matching, because if you have a lot of flats and you don't run them, you will get a bad reputation. People will stop using your service to run their properties. While if you show that 99% of people who put their properties for rent on your website can find someone to rent it within a week, that might be much better than anyone else. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. So different ways to make the process much easier because you're peer-to-peer instead of the usual process, which might be great. So anyway, here you want to prove that your idea is a better way to rent a flat than the current options. So I would suggest to know the metrics for the current property agents. When a property agent put a property for rent, how long does it take to rent it? And what's the conversion rate? Like we said that the occupancy rate is very low. You want in your platform that it to be very, very fast and much better conversion rate. Then once you have that, even if it's on a small scale, like I don't know what the number, maybe 100, 1,000, you prove that your hypothesis of renting fast with less deposit is better than the usual way to do it, which is a great traction, a great data point that people might want to finance to bring you to the next stage. Or once you tell people that you have this, your case for them to join you is maybe much easier than before. Even if you don't have money to pay them a real market salary, you can say, yeah, we're doing this, it will have this huge impact because this and this, and I'm not bullshitting you, because over the past 2 months, we had X properties that we rented twice faster than the usual rental time, and it will continue. So join us, and we'll grow together. Make sense? Cool. Thank you. What's your name again? Viv. Okay. 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 In a way, yeah, I didn't want to go into the idea itself. I just want to make sure that the idea makes sense, so that there is a business potential, and that is not wasting his time by doing this project. Like, you know, if we consider that we live 90 years, we have around 30,000 days in our lives. So what do we do every day? That is the best we can do, and we should spend time on projects which make sense. So I'm not going into the details of the product. I think there are other sessions for that, and we can discuss that. I would be very happy to discuss that on office hours and stuff. Yeah, I want to have, again, the total addressable market, so what you could reach, which could be set if it's an industry like F&B, where we know how many times people eat a day and how much they can spend, or completely new, like Uber or Airbnb. You have no idea how big the market can be. And then to find the few KPIs to show that you're progressing over the next coming months, and you can share it. Through arguments. I don't expect the hypothesis to be right. In a way, I don't care. I want them to be approximately accurate. If in 5 minutes we discuss a business idea and we find something and we stopped arguing and we think that it does not make sense, well, the project is dead anyway. So it's more, does it approximately make sense? It's better to be approximately right than precisely wrong. Yeah? Some people say that.
Can you apply it? Hello. Can you apply it for example, that business models that you don't provide a service, but you maybe are looking for like more users, for example, like Twitter or like other, like they don't provide a service. How would you?
Like we can. What will be the potential of Twitter? The total number of users will be the global population in a way, which we have to reduce by number of people who have a mobile phone or a device, which is a huge number. So we're in a case where we know that what they are doing is big by definition. Like you had 1 billion mobile users a few months ago. Now I think you had 2 or 3 billion. It will grow. So your user base is huge. Now if you want to monetize it, actually you can refine the plan and saying that today most of the advertising market is in North America and Europe and a bit Asia, or digital advertising. These numbers are public. Like we could find them in less than 1 hour, I would say. So that would be the total digital advertising market will be your total revenue, at least for the advertising model, which will grow, because I'm sure in the next 10 years the advertising market in Asia will grow a lot, and that brings us a lot of opportunity in Malaysia and countries around. But in this case, your market is big enough by definition. Well, could you find an idea which is much smaller? I don't have one coming right now, but if you were to say you're doing Twitter for cat owners, again, you're reducing your total market. And if you reduce too much, like if it's a Twitter for left-handed people with only 1 leg, I'm sure now your addressable market is so small that your niche might not be significant, which might still be a good business to do, because maybe you care so much about left-handed people with only 1 leg that you will know how to get 100% of them, and once you have this market, you can expand to the next market. Total addressable markets are never fixed. They will grow over time, or they will change over time, and you can refine your business proposition to grow. But you should make sure that you know what you're doing. That's my main point. And if you want people to reach you, or to come with you as a team or as an investor, you need to make them dream that there is something, there is an impact. I get free gym at the same time. Yeah, oh, that's a long one. Do you want to give a few of the hypotheses? Or? You want to come on stage? Yeah. Victory.
Hey guys.
Okay. Ajit.
Yeah, Ajit. Okay.
So what's your...
So the thing is that I'm involved in a business where we basically provide resume writing services for graduates as well as employees. So we started off in Malaysia. Right now we are operating in countries. So I'm sorry, I'm really nervous being here.
Oh, it's good.
So,
I'm very stressed too, no worries.
okay. So the thing is that I'm just questions here just based on you know how to do this.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
So okay, Malaysia.
Or maybe let's ask. Did you do this kind of calculation before?
No, I'm just.
Okay. So
This was just.
okay. So, and that's a result I'm very happy to see, where you might have been very focused on your product, your project, and here we take like 1 hour to think about what we're doing and making sure it makes sense. So already, I'm happy that we did that, and I hope it's useful for you.
Yeah. Okay, so just for Malaysia alone, population of Malaysia, I believe, is about 27 million.
Yeah.
Number of employees, I calculated as 50%,
Okay.
which is approximately about 13,500,000. Correct me if I'm wrong. Population.
Spreadsheet will do that. So working class. Yeah.
And number of graduates, I calculated as 10%.
Yeah.
Population.
That sounds a bit high because, like, graduates usually graduate 1 year and then they go to the working class.
Yeah.
And I would say our Malaysia might have a young population, so there might be around 20% of students, young people. And if you have 20% of students, let's say school is around 10 years, so you will have 1/10 of the student population, which is graduate every year. And let's hope that people get a job within 1 year. So our graduate population should be 20% divided by 10. That makes sense? So don't say okay if you're not, because I just reduced your market size by 5.
Yeah, justification made sense, so that's why I just said okay.
Cool.
Okay, and then so the price per package is less.
Okay.
And cost per package is
Yeah.
40.
Okay. So now, okay. Okay. So yeah, it's great. You went a bit further than just the top line. You make it on a gross profit, gross margin. We have the price per cost, so it's our gross profit, which means that when you sell something, like the potential money coming actually to the company will be $60. Yeah. So actually, yeah. So that would, if you would get 100% of the market, that would be a 16 million USD a year market for Malaysia alone, which it might be a great market. Oh, having a business with 10 million revenue sounds pretty cool. Now that's 100% of the market, so how much can we actually reach?
Right now,
Okay, so right now you're doing 2,000 a month, so per year, let's just do around 24,000 a year, which means that right now you would have 10% of market share already. Yeah, wow, congrats. How long have you been live?
we've been around, the idea was actually impregnated about 7 years ago.
Okay.
But it actually went live like last year.
Okay, so actually 10% market share in 1 year, I think we can call it with. And how much do you believe you can achieve?
A lot more.
Yeah? You believe that more than 50% of people need your services?
Yes.
Okay.
Because we basically provide resume, cover letter, thank you letter, follow-up letter, list of headhunters worldwide.
Okay.
LinkedIn profiles.
Okay.
Whole
Do you want to mention the name of your company? You have some graduates over there, so maybe some people need your service.
Yeah, it's basically called www.globe-resume.com.
Globe-resume.com. Cool. Yeah. So if you achieve your goal, you would be at 8 million USD a year revenue in Malaysia alone.
So
yeah.
right now we're trying to expand to UK,
Yeah.
Australia, and stuff. So
Cool.
I didn't
Yeah.
all that stuff, so I just
So-
targeted for Malaysia.
So if you're telling me that you have close to 10% market share, I guess you prove that you have a product market fit. And if you want to expand to other countries, you might want to raise money, or maybe you're profitable enough or cash flow positive enough that you don't need it. But if you need it to raise significant amount, you will need to prove that the money will be used to expand. So you should do this calculation for the different countries. And then this chart for you will basically be Malaysia is one line, so you are there at 1 point and you can grow by 5 maybe, and you will add another country, another country, another country, and each time growing your total addressable market. So now you can explain to investors why you need $10 million and why it makes sense. Cool. Awesome. Congrats.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Yeah. It's just random numbers. Yeah. No. Cool. So, anyone else wants to review hypothesis? Or I think we might be short on time. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. Your turn.
I want to know, I'm as a university student, Malaysian University, National Malaysian
Student.
Okay, student. Can I know, for the fresh graduate, we want to be an investor, and can we do the SWOT analysis for the research for competitors?
Yeah, of course. Like
So, how we can do the research or the competitors?
use numbers which are public.
Yes.
So in a way, oh, you can keep. You can imagine if you're a financial analyst in a bank and to do investments, you might not have access to all the companies, but you can estimate the market the same way we did here, like the first one or this one. Like I took a few numbers, and you could do that in another city. For every city, you change your population. The behavior might be approximately the same, or some countries might have slightly more people traveling or not. But Google is your best friend. You will find quite a lot of numbers, and again, you don't care if it's 30% or 33%. What you want is it 10 or 50%, and then you have the market size. If you target Singapore, you have a 5 million people population. If you target Malaysia, you have 30 million. If you target Indonesia, you have 300 million. It's very interesting. If you compare Singapore and Indonesia, or even Malaysia, so Malaysia is around 300 million people. The growth rate of population is pretty low at 2%, I believe. But if you do 2% growth over 10 years, it's around 30 million people that was added to the population. 30 million is the population of Malaysia. So a country with a huge user base, if we want, like citizens, will grow and add the population of another country within a few years. Yeah. This one will be fun, I guess.
No, I have an idea. No, because this one I.
Closer, please.
Okay. First of all, I want to sell the books.
Yeah.
Second-hand books.
No, people don't read anymore. Forget it.
Second-hand books. So let's say, assuming in Malaysia, average books 60 ringgit.
Yeah.
And so if I convert into USD, it's around 25 USD.
Mm-hmm.
So if I put in internet, I do sales from internet. Maybe
maybe. Do you want to tell us approximately what is the idea? So we can follow your.
Yes. I want to sell books.
You want to sell books?
Yes. Second-hand books. Second-hand books. Second-hand books.
Second-hand
books. Used books. Used books.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So, assuming 60 ringgit, but in the USD, $25.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I estimate 100 person who enter my internet, so they buy. So I can get 600 per day. 600 ringgit per day.
Okay.
So 6,000. Sorry, 6,000.
Okay. And does that match your expectation? Does that match business you want to develop?
That is my estimation.
Yeah.
Estimate.
Yeah.
Per day.
So, like the first thought, and we need to be a bit more, but I guess the printed book market is going down.
Oh, I see.
And second-hand books might be even lower. So you're in a subset of a declining market. You will have to find a value proposition which is very attractive for people who want to join you.
I see.
I
see. So shut down.
No. But it might still be very profitable and a very good business. And if you're passionate about it, do it.
Okay.
Like, we see some businesses growing while they are doing like CDs or even the technology before CDs and stuff. You find your niche and go for it. And do this calculation, and it seems you did it. And make sure it matches your expectation of how big you want a business to be and how much you want to potentially earn one day.
Okay. Okay, sure. Thank you.
Go. Okay. Maybe I will pitch for another workshop, which will be, I think, tomorrow or after tomorrow in the conference, which is very related to traction. So here we spoke about the total addressable market. So how big your business could be if everything works perfectly. We spoke about KPIs and metrics that you can use to monitor your traction on the way. But we didn't speak at all about how to do it. But lucky for you, there will be a talk by John Youngfook tomorrow about growth hacking. So if you follow growth hacking, it's also a great thing to review your business. So you take a list of growth hacking techniques, and for each of these, like blog, guest post, share your content, you review how you could apply that to your business. So be it for F&B, for resume service, for condo rental, or for books reading, go through such a list and see what you could do in your business, which will improve the KPIs that you just set. So you're pushing your growth in a way that makes sense for you. So I strongly suggest you to attend this keynote or workshop tomorrow. Yeah. Cool.
Hi. Regarding your hypothesis analysis on this F&B for the commuters, how do you analyze the total addressable market?
How many times a day people eat? How many people are there in a place? How much can people spend on money on food?
So that is by saying that it's you need market research for that.
What is the population of Malaysia? 30 million people, 10 plus or minus 10%. People will eat 3 times a day, I believe. Students certainly too, maybe. And average money you will spend on a meal, you can estimate, like as a gross estimate, I would say the average in Malaysia might be between 10 to 30 ringgit per day or per meal. So per day it's maybe 50 to 100. That's my hypothesis in 1 second. To make sure that this makes sense, we could multiply it by 360 to find the total per year. And now if you find that this number is above the GDP per capita of a country, you're probably completely wrong, because people cannot spend more than what they earn, and GDP per capita is a pretty good estimate of how much people earn in a country. If the country is not generating this money, there is no way people earn it. So, yeah, market research are good, but you can estimate with something close to that. Basically,
you mean specifically at that area itself,
yeah,
or
like go as close as you can think of,
okay,
for what you're trying to do.
Let's take ice cream or coffee, yeah, for example.
Yeah.
How do you see this total measurable market for the ice cream itself?
I guess people don't eat ice cream 3 times a day. So, but let's say people would eat ice cream once a day, like they have one ice cream after 1 or 3 meal, and then you take the price of an ice cream, and that would be a very, very high total addressable market, which you will refine through other ways. Then a good way to do market research is to go for listed companies, because they publish a lot of information. So I'm sure there is some listed companies who do ice cream. Take the latest annual report, and they will tell you some trend on the market, and they might not be listed in Malaysia, but they might be listed in the US, and you will see some comparison between a food business. Take McDonald's, you like it or not, but it gives an estimate of how people eat, and compare that with ice cream, and do similar hypotheses for the country you're looking at. And again, if you're off even by 2 times or 3 times, you don't care so much. What you want to avoid is having something which is ridiculously small, or which does not make sense for you.
I understand. Thank you.
Cool. Last question? No last question. Okay. So I will be having office hours tomorrow and after tomorrow and the day after. So if you want to come discuss your hypothesis and your KPIs and how to measure your traction, I will love that. And as I said, if some of you want to take me on the offer of reviewing your traction together over the next 6 months, come talk to me or contact me and we'll do it. Thank you. And now we have a last question. Yeah? I never sent a resume. But I believe people do resumes and get job with that. And the resume is like a pitch for yourself. Having experts who know how to do it, I'm sure will improve your probability of getting a job. Yeah? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm very impressed when he says that he got 10% market share within a year. I will have to ask a bit, what did he do for the first six years? It sounds a bit like the curve I was showing before. Like, so for 6 years there is nothing happening, and then it grows super fast. So we need to understand that. And then the total addressable market, because if he's already at 10% of the market, yeah, I don't believe that he will reach 100% of the market. So maybe the upside in Malaysia might be 3 or 4 times, so I don't know. So we will not get a huge return over there. So we need to find other markets he could tap into, and so do the analysis of the addressable market in other countries, and there might be more competition in other countries. Cool. Thank you very much.